Hi, this is Kent Ketter with Hot Takes, bringing you a little Legacy Cube action. This is all brought to you by Cardhoarder. We're in match one of our first draft here. We drafted a black-white deck, pretty average. You can see some of the cards here, and we have a big fat mulligan. So we're on the draw. Yeah, I'm gonna mulligan this. This is a little bit better, and we're gonna put old Sorensky on the bottom. I fully expect to get bodied out of this draft quite quickly. Oh my goodness. Alright, well, we'll be able to cast our 3-drop on the 3. Our curve is awful. Definitely could have gone for a couple other 2-drops. Hope is, our opponents aren't too fast. Hey, look at that. They're slow as can be. That's good for us. The cards I liked. Abandoned Ship. I wonder what our green-white deck would have looked like. Would have been pretty value-oriented. Yeah, I don't think that card's very good here. You get to what? So our opponent's on a white. Yeah. We're just gonna banish or priest the Thalia. I don't really care if our opponent chooses to use removal to deal with the banisher priest. That's not really a big deal. To me, they can have their Thalia back. Absolutely. So in another turn, we'll be able to, well, we'll probably just get the Gideon next turn with this Quarantine Field. Look, 4 mana each of Gideon's not bad. Each of Gideon. Maybe they emblem, but I don't think that is okay. So tick up. Tack-a-lack. So I take 5 here, nothing too crazy. I think as long as our opponent's follow-up's nothing too powerful, I think we're gonna fire off. Oh, the old Time Warp deck. Wonder if they have the part the Water Veil, and if that's their strategy. Dun strategy. Huh. I mean, I guess that puts our opponent in a decent situation. It's a pretty free attack there. I wonder if this is where they cast. So, oh, okay. Well, we're going to F6 all the same. Looks like they don't value their Thalia much at all either. I can't imagine our opponent's white cards are much better than our white cards. Ours are pretty good. Yep. Also would not be the worst Armageddon here, I think. I think we have to Quarantine Field next turn. Oh. No, we don't. So I think we're gonna just attack our opponent's face for 4, gain 4. Attack you. And then we're gonna run out a probably a Spectral Procession here. So play land. So if we run out of Spectral, that lets us leave up what appears to be a combat trick of some sort. I mean, that's the same with the Finks. I think 3 blockers are better than 2. It's going to entice the Knight allied attack. Yeah, let's actually go with the Spectral here. I think it's a little harder to punish out of our opponent. A single removal spell doesn't catch it. I do think that the removal spell is probably going to be pointed at the Banisher Priest. Okay. That was definitely my bigger concern, was that they were going to have a removal spell for this. Maybe they still do. Looks like they're just... Woof. Interesting. They could have had all of our creatures come into play tapped. So we're going to be able to eat a Gideon and a Thalia. We're probably going to put 2 blocks on the Knight ally. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, I think we're going to go crunch and munch here. Probably going to chump, take 5, go to 9. Crack back for 6. Yeah. Opponent's got to have a pretty good... Clock actually doesn't change, so we're going to save a little bit of life here. I hope our opponent has like a, a medium creature. Looks like we're eating 2 planeswalkers, and we're going to deal with the Thalia. Oh, you're going to kill Gisela, aren't you? You monster. Oh, you're not? Okay. I'm going to attack Garfuda. Is that correct? No. Okay. So, Quarantine Field. Targeting... X is 2. 1, 2. Alrighty, those are mine. Ha! That was a blowout. So we traded 6 for 8. Got a couple planeswalkers out of the deal. We'll probably lock up the game with this Cloud Goat Ranger. I think I'm going to chump just one more time here. I don't feel like we're really pressed too hard. But I want to make sure our extra cards have time to take over. There's also something to be said for our creatures having to come into play tapped with the Thalia. So I think I do want to get the chump in here. Okay, I think that's clearly the better creature to play over the Cloud Goat Ranger. So let's see if we get our life. I think if we get our life... Yeah. So hopefully our opponent doesn't have Counterspell. They didn't last turn, but it could have been a remove spell. Alright, well... This is the phase of the game where we take over. Oh, I see. Very Very interesting deck. So they're like the blue-white flash deck. Oh lord, we are dead. Yep, because they take our... Sure. That is Xaxes. Huh. Didn't want the zombie tokens. Okay. So it looks like our opponents are a little slow. Oh, excuse me, they're aggressive. So I don't think I want a card like this. Actually don't think this will be very good. Well, kind of as expected. Our deck is definitely lower on the power scale. We're going to keep this. And we're just hoping our opponents don't curve out on us too, ridiculously well. Or beat us with top-end cards that are just, like, much more powerful than what we have. It's kind of a downside of Cube in that some of the colors I feel like are set up to not have... I mean, white just doesn't have the play that the other colors, do. I think red has a lot of flex to where it can slot into decks. It can be aggressive. It can be, a little bit slower in controlling. Black as well. It just feels like most of the other colors kind of work around some other things. I feel like white is just a lot more locked into what's... Basically, it has a mix of creatures and a couple spells. None of its removal is absurd. None of its creatures are really that busted anymore. It just doesn't have anything that it does exceptionally well, so it just feels like it... To me, it underperforms. And in Cube, it feels like those issues definitely pop up frequently. So they get a tapped land, probably. I mean, if we untap with Mentor, we get to draw a couple cards while casting this Lingering Souls. Okay. So our follow-up is probably this. See if you can beat a fourth. I mean, I don't think this card's particularly difficult to beat. It dies to almost all the removal, all the bolts and the like. I mean, it does have a stat line that is commendable. There's something to be said there for running out the Mother of Runes. Sure. So then we go... Mentor, trigger... off of Mother of Runes... Yeah, we'll pay the 1. Yep. And then we draw a card. And if our opponent doesn't kill this Mother of Runes, we're going to take the game over real quick. Our opponent definitely has an interesting Jeskai deck. Like what they're bringing to the table. Definitely seems like a difficult one to mix it up with. I wonder how much counter magic they were able to get. Huh. They must need a off color. I have the Baneslayer Angel. And they're like, no you don't. I have the Baneslayer Angel. And then we both laugh because I go, no, no. I have this quarantine field, and I'm wondering... Yeah. Just eat both your creatures, attack for 2. Man, quarantine field. Whew, overperforms. So I'm assuming my opponent's going to draw cards here. Cons. Didn't have my stop set. Oh, it's like a car accident. Like you just like see it happening in front of you and you're just like, no. And then it's happened and you're like, oh, wow. I'm in big trouble. Okay. The question is, how do we recover? And I think it starts with a couple angel or Lingering Souls tokens. So I can draw off of each of them. So from here, we got to beat 2 cards a turn, but I think Grave Titan's going to close that out pretty well. There is something to be said for playing around Zealous Conscripts, but I think a lot of these other cards are kind of presenting similar things. We're still a couple mana away from 2 creatures a turn type deal. If I draw a land, I get to Grave Titan, draw 2 cards, and that seems like good value. And I have a lot of blockers. Okay. I think if I draw the land, I fire it off here. If I don't, I fire it off with the Cloud Goat Ranger. I'm not exactly sure what I'm waiting on in regards to the... in regards to the Gideon. But I feel like that's a card that'll mop up the game pretty well, so I'm going to be conservative with it. I mean, this is 1 for 1 if... No, it's 2 for 1. Sure. Sure? Our sequence was questionable with that Mother of Runes. But... okay. When this resolves, we're gonna pay it. Hold back. 1. No, we'll just give our opponent the full business. Hopefully they don't have the Zealous Conscripts again. If they do, we're not just dead this time. We got it a little bit earlier. So our opponent's making all their land drops off their Outpost Siege, which is fantastic. Sorry, Mom. I didn't have my stop set. She's like taunting me from the graveyard. Okay. So you have the conscript. So I have to, what, chump? I'm assuming you don't have a nether punish for this. I hope you don't. So you get 2 1/1s. Do what I can to take the least amount possible. Alright. Are we in 2 spells a turn range? 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Okay. 10 mana? No, 9 mana. So we get 1/5. Let's attack with Titan. No. So the Ajani Vengeance, I imagine our opponent's gonna, like, kill the Gisela. Just, you know, pretty big beat. I think we're 2 spelling next turn, though. Cloud Goat Ranger into Elspeth plus. So I just have to block in a way that doesn't let Gideon die. Interesting. So it's probably going to be like 2, 4. Gideon can take 6 here. Yeah. There. There, so you don't get a... well, you wouldn't get one anyway. So let's actually go here to trim 1. Excuse me. So if our opponent has a post-combat blocker 6, 6, 12, 14, right? Just attack with all creatures. You attack. So the question is, do you have No, I have Restoration Angel. No. No. Okay, alright. That took care of that. Our follow-ups are just more 5. Oh, Lord. Our deck is so beefy. Actually, Relic Warder seems like a nice 2 to bring in. Try to eat that enchantment that our opponent's throwing at us. Johnny Vengeant and the like. So let's actually cut. I think I'm supposed to cut one of these 5s, and I think this is actually our worst one. But I also don't hate it, because I think it gives us a chance to kind of jump back into some games. This card's been bonkers. 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 Let's cut this Winnower. Doesn't really kill any of the really big stuff. I think I'd rather have the Planeswalkers. Alright. Let's try to wrap this one up quickly with a nice 2 pack rat on the 2 and just pack rat our opponent. We're due for 1 a match. No pack rat, an early warder, but we go 5/6. Huh. Yeah, we'll keep. Mulliganing's the worst. Our opponent's on the mulligan, though. Ooh! See, just keep 7. If you keep 7, you never keep 5. Right? Keep 7, never keep 5. I'm gonna make all my land drops. That's for darn sure. If our opponent plays a mana rock, I'm gonna feel so bad. But it's gonna feel so good. Uh-oh. Ooh, lordy, lordy, lordy. Miss your land drop, sir? Miss it? Ah, you made it. That's okay. Tap, tap, tap. Uh-huh. Is it a Thalia? It is a Thalia. Interesting. Well, it is large. I'll wait for... maybe I'm supposed to Vindicate, like, right there to play around the spell queller that our opponent showed us. Yeah, I think I was just supposed to Vindicate immediately. Now we wait for our opponent to do something else, which I'm kind of hoping is a 4-drop enchantment. Then I can Vindicate your Thalia and eat your enchantment. Yes, you take one. Oh, you poor, poor, poor person. Sharing draft queues is stupid and I hate it. I hate it. Oh, Vindicate's a sorcery. Yeah, I was just supposed to fire that off on my turn. I don't know, like, what possessed me to think I could do it the other way, because that's not how it works. Okay. Well, I hope from here our opponent can't put on enough pressure. This Elspeth puts some blockers into play. Well, not really even. Interesting. Oh, that's fine. Actually, if I go up next turn when I cast it, I go up again. Yeah, let's just go up. Not actually getting anything, but the 3/1/1s are irrelevant. I don't just want to give up a 6-mana creature. Redirected to Elspeth? Okay. You got it. Probably split here. So then we untap Grave Titan. And I mean, it's a pretty easy race for us. Oh, well. Nah. Your turn. Okay. So I'm assuming they have another Zealous Conscripts. The next turn we can go Pack Rat Pitch. Seems fine. Opponent has 5th land, but do they have conscripts? My hope is no. They do. So I have to block the Grave Titan. I'm going to take 6, go to 7, and then body back. Okay. Block there. It was actually kind of funny. So I go Pack Rat. We're just going to play this as a blocker. Attack for 2 more blockers. And I hope we can somehow jam through. A lot of attackers with not so many blockers. The thing is we have the ground very much gummed up. Okay. So that what? Targets of conscripts. Okay. No, I can't do both, so it's cast both halves of that. And is that enough? Huh. Sorry. Deep in thought trying to do the combat math there. I absolutely apologize for that long pause. What I think is going to happen on these next couple steps is we're just going to be trading spirits for spirits. I had to think through my two different combat sequences. I mean, yeah, all of these are like really obvious attacks, and so I would be dead to an angel hit if I block like this. Anything there? Yeah, I think I just... Actually, hold on. No. That was almost a big mistake. Block here. Block here. I end up with nothing to crack back with, but I can 6 my opponent. I mean, this is fine. I'm wondering if I'm supposed to switch those two back and keep a 1/1, but I really don't want to give... Oh, that's brutal! Oh my goodness. Okay, so we need to have what? Yep, that's game. Reflector Mage. Wow. So good against the Titans. 6-mana creatures just don't stand up to the Reflector Mage. Decent games, but that just, yeah, that wraps it up for us. Our opponent definitely had a good one there. So, that was a really interesting couple of games in Cube, and I think that's something that a lot of people kind of wish they could get more of in Magic, is, I really, want these intricate board states and stuff, and, maybe Standard doesn't give that to you in the ways you like, or Modern doesn't. Magic Online, some Hop Cube action, pretty neat. So this was Kent Ketter with Hot Takes, bringing you a little Legacy Cube action for the week as we deal with a little latency, waiting for Kaladesh to get online. This is all brought to you by Cardhoarder. Thanks for checking us out. Check us out for the next 2 games. Thanks.